When I graduated college, I moved in with one of my, he's now my business partner, and he got a job too in sales. And we both just looked at each other 2 weeks after, literally 2 weeks after we started our jobs. Like, is this what it's going to be for the next 30 years?
Dante Nino, from soccer fields to construction sites in Los Angeles, chose to carve his own path beyond the family business. Together with Simon, he spotted a niche in construction recruitment, revolutionizing how talent meets opportunity.
We were able to hit 3.5 million last year in revenue. We have 15 people now, and we made the list for Inc. 5000 as the fastest growing private companies in America for 2023. I mean, it's not always been easy. It was definitely been a struggle and a lot of learning things that we've had over the past few years, but it's been great.
Dante's mission is clear. Partner with top construction firms, turning challenges into triumphs, one hire at a time.
What would be your number one piece of advice for like a new investor?
My biggest piece of advice for a new investor would be...
Welcome back to the Ian Loves Real Estate podcast, where we help our listeners navigate the path from a 9-to-5 job to an entrepreneur real estate investor. We're super excited today for our guest. Our guest today is a young entrepreneur whose company is quickly rising up the list of the fastest growing companies in all of America. This success in business led him to looking at various investment opportunities to diversify and be more tax efficient. That search led him to finding real estate as a possible option, and the rest is history. Dante's entrepreneurial spirit has led him to early success in real estate, where he is just now touching the surface of that potential. I'm so happy to introduce Dante and Nino to the show today. All right. What's up, Dante? Thank you so much for being here today. Super excited to hear about your experience. You know, there's so many parallels between real estate investing and entrepreneurship. I think having you on today is just going to open a lot of people's eyes to how similar those things really are and how success in one of those fields can lead to success in real estate or vice versa. It's no coincidence that you've had success in both, and your skills have really translated well to your success in those. So maybe before we dive right in, if you could share a little bit about your background, you know, where you come from and what growing up was like for you, and then we can dive right into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for having me here. I'm a Mexican American. I came from the U.S. here when I was 9 years old, living the American dream. I landed in L.A. My dad came in as a construction worker. You know, kind of been around the construction side all my life, but never into real estate. So I was always had an eye for it. And then from there, I moved to Orange County, California, where I started my my company as well too. Then kind of ended up in Austin as of last year, just to kind of explore different things before the family comes. And I'll get into it later on too, but it's no state income tax state as well too. So that helps out a lot, which is why one of the main reasons I kind of wanted to get into real estate as well too.
I love it. Yeah. So you had a little bit of a background in like more of construction or recruiting, right? So, you know, you didn't go straight into entrepreneurship. You started out, you know, traditional route, 9-to-5, W-2. What was that like when you were first getting started in the working world, I guess?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I went to college and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Originally, I got a degree in business administration and with a finance concentration as well too. So I thought I was going to go and a stockbroker, be a financial analyst or something. But once college was coming around to graduate, I wasn't really interested of just sitting down in a laptop the whole time or just punching numbers. So I kind of just explored it out. And once I graduated, I had an internship while I was in college selling insurance for a company called Northwestern Mutual. I was selling life insurance. And from there, I met a connection that ended going to a recruiting agency, which I had no idea what it was about or what they do, how they made money. But it was a sales type of job. You connect people to jobs, you find companies good people, and you get paid a fee for that. And I went through the interview process and landed my first job 2 weeks after college. And I did that for about 2 years. And I saw a lot of success early on. there from my 9 to 5, but just looking around, I saw people that were doing it for 10, 15, 20 years and kind of still doing the same thing. So I knew that I wasn't going to be doing that long. So I kind of wanted to pivot away and try something else as well, too.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I know that feeling, when you're looking around and you're like feeling a little bit like you might not be like the guy next to you or the girl next to you. And, even if they're having some success, inside of you that there's more, there's more out there for you.
Yeah.
What was that like when you started kind of feeling a little bit different and feeling like, hey, I should, I have so much potential. Maybe I should explore the entrepreneurial route. What was that kind of thought process like? And was there a moment or a trigger for you that you just had enough of the 9 to 5 and it was time to move on?
Yeah. So when I graduated college, I moved in with one of my, he's now my business partner, and he got a job too in sales. And we both just looked at each other literally 2 weeks after we started our jobs. Like, is this what it's going to be for the next 30 years? And we were like, there has to be something else. And, people were making good money, but they didn't have that freedom. They didn't have the freedom to go on vacations, multiple times and do more out of life as well, too. So, right away, me and my business partner were like, what else can we do? And entrepreneurship and avenue kind of sought out to us. And I mean, for us, we lived very frugally. And we had a 3-bedroom apartment shared with another roommate. Our rent was $350 each, and I had no student loans or anything. So we just started saving all our money and investing in whatever we could do. We tried trading stocks. We tried starting a dog stand or anything, and until one evening, I was coming back from my job, and I brought my company a lot of money. It was like almost like $100 and something thousand a month, and I only made like $2,000 commission or something. And I was like, dude, like I'm making my company so much money. I'm not making a lot. I don't like it. Then I showed them what I do, and we were just like, well, why don't we start a recruitment company? I was like, well, I don't know how. He's like, well, we could figure it out. And that's how it kind of started. Me and him, after work, we would just kind of figure out how to start a recruitment company, how the legal side works, how to get a system to start, and so on. And we just saved enough money till we could actually quit our job and do it.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations for that, for making that decision. I'm sure it wasn't all, peaches and rainbows or whatever you want to say early on. Was there any struggles that you had in those first few years, or anything that a listener could potentially be on the lookout for that you had to learn the hard way?
Yeah, I mean, I think I tell most people nowadays, they always ask me, should I quit my job and start entrepreneurship? I'm all like, no. Your job is your income right now. So you might have to take some sacrifices right now and work outside of work hours and try to start something. Once you see some momentum there, maybe some money coming in, then you could start thinking about taking that move and quitting your job. But make sure you have lots of reserves, because things are not going to go your way. And for us, luckily, we did save up for almost 2 years money, and we quit our jobs till we had some momentum. And we had at least 1 year of reserves that if we had no income coming in, we would be able to make it through. And sure enough, like the first year, we didn't make any money, but we were still working our jobs. Then the second year, we quit our jobs, went all in, and we still only made like $9,000. So it was tough. It wasn't always butterflies and skies. But then after that, our third year, we kind of pivoted, and we tried different things, and we learned a lot. And boom, we made $400,000 that third year. Two 24-year-olds, $200,000 each. It was just out of the world.
Wow. So you initially started it when you were 22. We're still kind of in the transition period. You quit full time when you were 23 years old, mm-hmm. and then moved right into, making $400,000 the following year. So, mm-hmm. Those are some great tips in terms of, not necessarily burning the boats right away, making sure that you've got some proof of concept, you've got reserves in place, you've got the skills necessary to at least make sure that you're going to be able to survive for those first couple of years.
Yeah. And it goes towards real estate as well too. It's like a lot of people think that, oh, I'm gonna buy 1 or 2 homes and quit my job and start cash flowing, but that's not the case. And obviously, we both know about that. You have to make sure you still have some income coming in and kind of figure it out. It's a long-term play.
For sure. So what's your company now look like? It's been 7 years, right? You just turned 30.
Yeah.
Maybe tell us a little bit about how your company's set up now, how many employees you've got. And we know some of the stats, right? One of the fastest growing companies in America. So it's been a, upward trajectory these last few years. So maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Of course. I mean, the first 2 years we tried to figure it out, and we kind of tailored it to our third year, and we started our company Tielo, which is and now we're at this year is our 5th year in business now, so that's nice to have. And we were able to hit 3.5 million last year in revenue. We have 15 people now, and we made the list for Inc. 5000 as fastest growing private companies in America for 2023. So that's been really nice to kind of hit. But I mean, it's not always been easy. It was definitely been a struggle and a lot of learning things that we've had over the past few years. But it's been great. It's been great now. So right now we're planning to grow it and for another few more years and see where we could take it.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yeah.
The sky's definitely the limit for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
One question I would have, in terms of a lot of people in our position starting out, they're really great in terms of the operations or kind of a solopreneur, right? Mm-hmm. They can, be the master and do everything, the jack of all trades. But when it comes to scaling, they really struggle with putting people in place to be successful or like building out a team. Mm-hmm. What are a couple things that you could recommend for somebody that is trying to build a team and get out of that do everything yourself phase of a business? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's where most people get stuck on. They feel like no one else could do the job as good as they could. And they feel like they always have to be in the trenches. And for us, it took us a few years to kind of realize that. I mean, I think till we probably like a year and a half, 2 years, we figured out that we could train up people. And training was a big investment in us because you're not always going to have the same amount of revenue coming in because you're taking the pedal off the gas there. So it's going to take a little downturn there. But once you improve on your systems and your processes and put a good training program in place, it works and it helps bring people and scale them. But one thing that we did wrong recently too is we scaled fast, we promoted people, and we expected those people that were promoted just because they were doing good to be able to be good managers. And our quality went down, our revenue went down, and that was a big learning point for us. It's like we thought people that are good and doing the job, they could just make more of them. But no, we kind of had to go back to the training program, back to the basics, and go into quality control. How are we doing a step A to step Z, and make sure we dive into the data there, because that's been a struggle. And a lot of people feel like, oh, well, I hired a few people and I could step back. Then they complain about bringing in people and they're not doing their job. It's like, well, you need to go dive into the data, dive into quality control, and see what's going on there, because the data tells you a lot.
Okay. Yeah, those are great tips. I mean, building a foundation, the processes, standard operating procedures, being able to have that documentation in place so that somebody can come in if you go on vacation for a month or something happens health-wise, that somebody can come in and just read that manual or be able to get caught up to speed quickly to take over that role.
Yeah. I mean, you got to invest in good systems. And I also, what has helped me in business as well too is mentors. Using a lot of people that have done it and are doing it, and pay them to kind of help me do it. And you save a lot of time. It's a huge investment in first, but you save a lot of time and you get ahead really fast. If it wasn't for that, we'd probably be still, under $1 million company.
What would be a tip that you would give somebody, I guess it would work in starting your own business or in real estate investing, what would be a good tip for somebody that's looking for a mentor in their given field? or looking to network and find those types of resources?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to scale or learn more about the industry, depends on business or being in real estate, finding a good mentor is very important. It's crucial to your growth. What we did is you kind of have to get out of your comfort zone and go out to events, go out to different meetups as well too online. I know we went to meetup.com, we went to a few Google events, we went to a few business events. We joined a few groups online as well too. Whatever we could find, we just did that, and we met a few good people there and a few good mentors that helped us kind of there. And once I did that for business, I realized that I could do that for real estate as well too. And sure enough, I did the same thing. That's where you and I met. Hired some good mentors there, and it was able to work because you have to be able to pick people's brains who have done it or are currently doing it, and you just learn a lot faster there. You get all the information there.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, to those listening, there's so many free resources with meetups and online groups, whether it's Facebook groups, where you can get free information and you can really, get 90% of the information you need. But don't be afraid to invest in yourself either, in terms of, paying mentors to get that one-on-one coaching or to get that extra 10% that you really need, because that's really what separates people, is that 10%. And sometimes you do have to spend money to make money, to spend money to get ahead and to get close with people that are 10 steps ahead of you. So, don't be afraid to invest in yourself.
Yeah. And people, I feel like a lot of people are afraid on investing in themselves as well too, because they feel like they're going to lose money or it's a waste. And it probably will be. You probably will be investing in some bad apples, but doesn't mean that every apple is going to be the same. If you invest in 5 different people and you were able to find one, then great. But you only invest one and you had a bad experience, then you're never going to invest again, and you're going to be stuck there. Because I know that happened with me too. I invested in 2 other things, and I did not learn. I learned what I basically knew already, and so I kind of kept looking and searching, and I found the right one. So I mean, don't be afraid, and know that sometimes it's not going to work out, but you got to keep kind of finding what's going to work for you.
Yeah, totally. I mean, real estate and entrepreneurship are both fields where you could lose a considerable amount of money if you don't know what you're doing, or you just think you know everything. So oftentimes an investment, even if it is 10,000, 20,000, not advising to just throw 20,000 out the window, but you can lose that money quickly when you're trying to start a business or you're trying to get into real estate investing. So, definitely weigh the pros and cons and, make those calculated risks where you can. So where do you see, what does the future hold for Cielo here in the next 5+ years? What are your goals?
Yeah, I mean, by 2025, we'll be an 8-figure plus company, projected on what we're looking at right now. Then we have kind of like a 5-year exit plan where we're kind of putting more people into leadership within our company and putting all the processes, having all our repeat clients as well too, where we could potentially have an exit here in the next 5 years. I mean, once we kind of double there and have 20 to 30 million in revenue, we'd be able to have a nice exit there, and I'd be able to focus most of my time onto real estate, which I really enjoy and like. It's something that I definitely want to do long term.
Okay, amazing. That's not far off. You're gonna get there soon. So
yeah, I mean, well, we'll see. There's a lot of things that always happen, but it's exciting.
Cool. So that's a good transition. We talked a little bit about real estate, and you've moved to Austin, which kind of, the no income tax definitely helps from a real estate perspective as well. Mm-hmm. So maybe talk a little bit about what your journey's been like in the early years. You started making a lot of money at a young age as an entrepreneur, moved to a no income tax state. I'm in Washington State, so I can relate to the importance of that. But what was it that kind of got you into real estate? Sounds like the tax advantages are part of it, but what is it that you really enjoy about mixing in some real estate into your business?
Yeah, I mean, what pushed me into real estate is that I asked a lot of people that were high income earners or entrepreneurs, and I would say 90% of them pointed back into real estate. They said real estate is a good vehicle to not only minimize your tax bill, but also to create generational wealth for you as well too. And the more I asked, and the people I respected told me, always pointed back at real estate. So the first thing I did was, all right, well, what can I do now? I left California. I moved my company to Texas. It's a business-friendly state, and now I pay no state income tax, which was great. Then after that, I started, poking and seeing where I could go into real estate, and that's where I met the Inner Circle group, and they've been able to help me and guide me to how to start my real estate journey. And I bought my first property as a turnkey. I'm always very analytical, and I want to take a calculated risk. I don't want to go all in until I kind of grasp what it goes through. So I bought a turnkey property in Ohio. They had a tenant in place. I put 25% down, and I was cash flowing from day one. And I really like that investment because I went through the whole buying process. Okay, how you buy a process, how do interest rates work, how does escrow work, and everything. Because I had no idea what that was or how it worked. So it gave me the confidence to kind of do a low risk investment there and kind of learn the whole process there. And from there, I kind of just I learned a lot from that and kind of went into other deals as well too.
Yeah, I love that approach because there is, there is so much to learn just from buying a property that maybe doesn't have as much, it's not as distressed, or it's not going to require a $200,000 rehab budget. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's so much about just going through the process of buying a property with all the administrative side and the mortgage rates and navigating lenders and navigating what you need to even qualify. Mm-hmm. There's different rules as a W-2 employee than there is as a business owner. Learning, you probably need 2 years of tax returns. It's a little bit different process for you than it would be for somebody in a 9-to-5. So just getting all of that learning out of the way on a property that isn't as, that's not going to sink the ship, per se on the first one. I think there's a lot that people can learn from that are looking for that perfect BRRRR, which is essentially a 30% margin deal. So kudos to you on, not feeling like you had to go buy a distressed 20-unit apartment complex and put yourself in a bad spot, and knowing what you're comfortable with too. So that's that calculated risk taking that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then from there, you had a good experience with your turnkey in Ohio. Did you end up staying in Ohio for the second one, or what was that? What was the next one like?
No, so once I gained the confidence to do my turnkey, go through the whole buying process, how interest rates were, dealing with different lenders, I started seeking help on how to, the cash flow was nice, but I didn't really want. I feel like for everyone it's a little bit different. A lot of people are looking for cash flow because they want to offset that so they could retire, so they could get out of their W-2 job. For me, it's like, well, I need to buy houses to get all that, minimize my tax bill, but I also want to, do it quick and grow equity. Cash flow wasn't my biggest thing, so I asked around until I met a Springboard to Wealth, and they kind of just told me, well, for people like you, if cash flow is not the most important to you, I think building equity should be, and you build equity by buying distressed homes, rehabbing them, refinancing, and just building from there. And once I met the group, I saw people doing it. I asked a lot of questions, and I started getting out there, meeting wholesalers, meeting realtors in the area, and that's when I bought my house in San Antonio. It was a BRRRR, and I learned a lot through that one that I didn't know about, but it was a good experience because you don't learn until you're gonna go into it. Because you could watch all the YouTube videos, you could watch everything of what they tell you, how it's gonna work, but you don't learn enough until you actually do it. And it was a good experience, even about hard money lenders. I used to hard money lender. It was a good experience to learn that. I learned how to work with a wholesaler as well too, and just different things. And I was able to buy that property at $160K. I put 20% down, and I put 40% in rehab on that one. And the ARB was around 240, which was a nice 40K profit there, which wasn't ideal, but it was a good learning experience. But I did learn that a few things went wrong on that one because my budget originally was 30K, and then the roof was wrong. Then something else with the garage, and the things just started adding up, which I did not calculate on my spreadsheet there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what would be your biggest takeaway, I guess, from that second property that you went through?
My biggest takeaway was making sure that you go see the property before you buy the property, because the wholesaler is going to try to sell you the property and tell you, oh, no, it's in good condition. The roof should be fine. Everything else is okay. This is what we calculate. And I trusted the guy. I was like, yeah, all right, sounds good. He's a nice guy. He sounds like he wants to help me out. So I moved on that judgment. And once I went to the property and I walked it with a contractor, there was just so many other things wrong. And that was my biggest takeaway.
Wow. Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Sure. So are you on these first couple of properties, are they ones where you basically got them under contract sight unseen? Or at what point of the process do you personally feel like you should fly out there during the inspection period or what?
Yeah. So the first one I did because I work, and I was like, you know what, I'll buy it. It looks good on paper. The wholesalers tell me this. And I was like, just because I work a lot, I made that excuse, I don't need to go see it, that I'll figure it out. And yeah, I mean, now that's not what I do. After that second one that I bought and that happened, I was like, no, I need to go see every single property. I need to take the time, or else it's going to bite me in the ass later on. So now I go see every property before I do anything.
That makes sense. Yeah, definitely. A trip over for a day is probably worth, potential 10, 20,000 or more in savings for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot of money that you could save just by seeing the property, going with a contractor. They could tell you specifically what's going to go, what work it's going to need, and even that some things are still going to go wrong. So just got to.
Yeah, I mean, using that inspection period, for further negotiations is such an important time, as an investor, because you can get the property under contract, but really until you've seen it or walked it with a contractor, you don't know exactly how much things are going to cost. You can put in a general estimate, but using that time as additional negotiation is super important. So that's a great tip. And then, then you moved quickly on to number 3. What was the time period between number 2 and number 3? And then what's that one looked like for you?
Yeah. So I bought the third property probably 45 days later. Because I did have cash, and I have a good job, but after I learned a lot from that one and I talked to a few people, I just got everything down. It's like, okay, well, I need to keep my standards. My standards are my buy box. Make sure that any properties that are within an hour of Austin and they are 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom plus, and that need some type of rehab, those are the properties that I'm going to look at. I'm not going to look at 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. I'm not going to look at anything over an hour. I'm not going to look at anything, outside of my buyer box. And that's what I kept and that helped me out a lot, because you might get like, oh, hey, but I heard this duplex deal could be a good deal. I was like, no, you don't know anything about a duplex. So I just decided to stay within my buy box, and I did. And I this time I probably sourced through maybe 15 different deals, and I went to go see all of them. And I stayed within my buy box and my formula as well too. Make sure that I was going to get that 30% profit. And if it was anything before borderline, I was not going to look at it. I was not even going to gamble on it. I just made sure. And one thing that I did well on this one as well too is I negotiated. I didn't know you can negotiate with wholesalers. So that helped out a lot too.
Wow. Okay. So you're looking at anything basically purchase price plus rehab. You need to be at 70% of the after repair value or the finished value of that property.
All right. Yeah.
And anything less than that, you're turning down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to be disciplined on that, because you might say, well, this might work, or how about this? But no, you have to stay disciplined and hold your standards there.
For sure. I mean, like you said, you took the time to look at 15 properties while, working in your entrepreneur life, running a business, and you still made time to do that because you were disciplined to stay within your buy box.
Yeah.
So, there's a reason that you had success on that one, because you were patient and you waited until the right one came along. So, that's important, especially being that was your third deal. You can see kind of the progress in your decision making and your knowledge as far as investing goes. So,
yeah,
again, it's another parallel to what you've shown with your business growth too.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people are always, well, what if this happens? What if this? Well, I heard this. It's like, no, you're going to learn the most once you have that information. Dive into it. Don't go broke and try to go after the biggest thing. Start small, but just do something, and you're going to learn the most out of that. And once you do your one or two there, your third, fourth, fifth, sixth, you're going to get a lot better. You're going to get a lot more dialed in, and that's how you kind of grow. But sometimes you just have to kind of take that risk on that first and second one and learn as much as you can.
For sure. So would that be your biggest kind of advice for somebody that's just starting out in real estate, is to kind of take that calculated risk with a smaller deal that, again, maybe couldn't sink the ship? Or what would be your number one piece of advice for like a new investor?
My biggest piece of advice for a new investor would be make sure you know what you want out of real estate, because your goal might be different than my goal, and someone else's goal might be different than mine. So make sure you're dialed in on what you want out of real estate. Then after that, seek out help. Find a mentor. Find someone that's doing it, that they could guide you and tell you what's good and what's wrong. Then after that, go as soon as you have all that information, go into a deal. And go into a smaller deal that you could afford to lose some money on, if anything, because things will go wrong, and it's not going to go as you always projected. So just make sure you know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's some of the best advice we've had on the show. So I couldn't agree more. And that's spoken from experience, guys. So I hope everybody's taking notes on that. So where are we going from here in terms of your real estate business? Are you staying within that three bedroom, 1 bath plus buy box in within an hour of Austin? Or are you going to kind of try to scale from there, or kind of what's your goals for 2024 look like as far as real estate?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm not gonna get fancy. I think I know my buy box. I mean, the last property I bought it for $330. I put into it around $75,000 in rehab, and I got an ARB of $530. Okay, so it's 100 and something thousand and profit there, which was nice, and it was in a 2.5 months. And now it's going to be rented out, so that was a good one. So now I want to keep it simple. I'm not going to look at anything else. I'm already looking at my fourth property, and I want to get to 9 properties this year. But they're all going to be within the same buy box, and I would be strict on that because I think that's been helping me the most. I still run a business, and I still have to kind of be very involved there. So I don't really have time to go into real estate full time, but I do make the hours outside on the weekends or whenever I could to go see properties. And I've been able to build a good relationship with some contractors here that are able to go see the properties without me as well too, that I've trusted. And I've been able to do that as well.
That kind of leads into another question I was going to ask is, being newer to real estate and newer even to a new state and a new city, what are some tips that you could give somebody that's looking for contractors and scared of getting into an investment because they don't know any contractors?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to getting out there out of your comfort zone and going out to events, going out to talk to people, getting in touch with realtors as well too, because realtors talk to lenders, they talk to contractors all the time, and they talk to people out in the area as well too. So they're going to know a lot of people. And if you go to the realtor and say, "Hey, I'm I'm a new investor. I'm looking to buy a few properties. Some I might be able to sell some, but some I'm going to keep. So I want to build a relationship with someone," and they'll be more than happy just because they know it's an investment. One side, if they help you out, they know that you'll come back to them as well too. So I talked to quite a few, and they've been able to refer me. People are open to referring you to other people. Then after that, you got to make sure you vet them as well too. Get out to real estate events, get out to any type of meetups around in your area, and just go out there and make conversations. Let them know that, hey, I'm a new investor. I'm looking to purchase a new properties. Just wanted to see, how you work and what you've done, and they'll be open to talking to you.
Okay. Great tips. Great tips. So are you using kind of, now that you've got a few properties under your belt, do you have a pretty good set of contractors that are, that you can rely on, that you think you'll continue to use, or are you going to continue to expand in terms of that?
I got two contractors that I build good relationships with now, but they take on other projects as well too. So they might not be available when I need them as well. So I'm always looking to see who's out there as well too. And now I've met other investors as well too. I've met other realtors here in the area, so they've been able to introduce me to quite a few people. And I think I made a goal for myself this year to get out there and meet even more people here in the area, because I'm 1 year in Austin. I don't know. I don't know everything about real estate. So it's always good to keep kind of learning and keep shaking hands and seeing what else you could pick on as well too. So I think the networking and expanding your team never stops. You always have to make sure that you have quite a few people you could rely on in case the perfect deal comes by you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you hear a lot about Austin being one of the hottest markets in the country. So you've kind of plopped yourself right in the middle of a pretty competitive, appreciating market with a ton of opportunities. So that's, an exciting place to be for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good area and it has a lot of potential. I mean, we always talk about make sure you buy in places that have potential for the next 5 to 10 years. And I think everyone goes into real estate. How can I make money in the next 3 to 6 months? Like, no, you got to look at it here in the next 10 years. But many don't have the patience to do it, and that's where you build the true wealth.
For sure. So, got a couple minutes here left. Just thinking about, if for all the people that are listening that are in a corporate job now and want to be an entrepreneur, want to do what you're doing and get into real estate investing, what would you say to somebody that wants to leave their corporate job and be an entrepreneur, either as a word of warning or, as a tip of advice on what they could expect from that journey?
Yeah. No, I mean, I get asked this a lot too, because a lot of people are obviously they see the life, they see the cars, they see where you live and what you're doing. So they want that life, but they don't really see what has gone through the last 5-7 years of it. And I always tell them, like, it's make sure you have reserves and don't quit your job automatically. Always make sure that you're working a full-time job and you're working outside of hours to build whatever you're looking to build. That's the best way to kind of do it. And after you have some success or you have momentum, then if you have the reserves that you could go 6 months to a year without getting any type of paycheck, then take the risk. You're still going to have to take the risk and kind of do it from there. But just know that things are always going to go wrong. You're going to have 10 punches to the face and one thing's going to go good. But that win makes it all worth it. There's still days I'm up till 11 p.m. trying to figure out what I'm going to do in my life. But in reality, it's much better than before, because now I actually have money that I could, rely on. Before I was broke and I had nothing. So, the problems are always going to be there.
Yeah. And you have, that ultimate control over your future, your time. And, ultimately we'll get to that point where you have those freedom option and choices that, most W-2s can't provide. So,
yeah. Yeah. And I think if you're a W-2 looking to invest in real estate as well too, it goes to the same thing. We all go into real estate thinking that we're going to cash flow here in the next year or two and quit our jobs. And that's not the case. I mean, I would say, keep your job and invest, save, live way below your means, and try to invest that money into mentorship or into a house once you have it. And, go with low risk and make sure it's analytical, ask questions and so on. And I know that most people that are successful now, they did that. I mean, I know you did that in the beginning as well too. House hack, live below your means, and kind of grow from there.
Yeah, for sure. Delayed gratification is something that is almost lost today. Everybody wants the microwave millionaire status, and it's like you gotta take some time to have that delayed gratification, live below your means. It might take 15 years, really. I mean, nowadays with how expensive things are and how difficult it is to get ahead, but you really have to be willing to take that time, and it'll pay off in the end. But you really got to have that long-term thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we let you go, I always love to ask our guests, Dante, why do you love real estate?
Yeah. I love real estate because it's a great tool for high income earners to lower their tax bill and build generational wealth. It's something that's been around for hundreds of years, and it's not going to go anywhere. So I think it's a great investment tool for anyone that's looking to build wealth and have fun with it as well too.
For sure. Well, so how can our viewers and listeners reach you if they want to hear more about your story, follow you to the next 50 million with TLO, or are interested in entrepreneurship and real estate? What's the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way would be Instagram. You could reach me at Nino with 2 O's, DNINOO. Send me a DM. Let me know that you listen to this podcast, and yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have and see where we could always help out. I mean, I think people helping out each other is always good and always comes back around.
For sure. So, guys, go listen, go follow Dante's journey. He's an awesome guy, just getting started on his, entrepreneurial success story. So, if you want to follow along, definitely go follow him on Instagram. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. Hope you all learned something, and we'll see you on the next episode.